Welcome to a new video. Today we're going to be talking about quantity or quality. Which one is it? After today's video, I think everybody will be able to hold their own when it comes to an argument of quantity versus quality, not just on Redbubble, but all of print on demand. I know we talk a lot about Redbubble here on the YouTube channel, but we're talking about all of print on demand. Quality, quantity, somewhere in between. What is it? Where is it? The reason why I'm even bringing up this video, guys, is because there was a comment. There was a comment of somebody saying, and I'm sorry if I can't remember your name. It's been a long day, but I think the person said, I totally get the quantity matters, but I'm going to stick to the quality approach. And I think that's a great idea. In fact, I'm actually going to comment back to that person because once I upload it, while I'm waiting for the video to upload, what I do is I comment back on other videos. So that's why if my comments are late, you guys know why. But anyways, and this is kind of like a video for that reply, right? Is it quantity? Is it pure quantity? Or is it pure quality? Is it somewhere in between? Let's go ahead and have that discussion. And, if you were to choose one, which one would you pick? Here's the thing, guys. Okay, if you've seen my other few videos, you know that quality does not precede quantity, meaning in the beginning, you're going to have to create a lot of designs to eventually reach quality. That's my belief. Now, I could be wrong, right? There are certain circumstances that are select few circumstances that could change that. But when we're talking about, a balance of probabilities here, right? In terms of percentages, general averages, we're taking a random sample, the majority population we're assessing. For most people, you get better the more you work at something, right? The better you practice. Most people are not going to just be perfect right out the gate. I think we can all agree on that. I mean, me personally, as an example, I actually have a screenshot of my very first t-shirt design on my old computer, and it was like an I Love Coffee design, and it looked hideous. Like, literally hideous. Believe it or not, I made one sale in my whole entire lifetime, but it looked hideous. Now, you'll never see me making a design like that. So, what I'm really trying to say here is that first, quantity creates quality, in my opinion, for most people. But in the same token, right, the other side of the token, without quality, right, or without the focus of creating quality, the sales will not exist. And we know that rule to be true because at the end of the day, people don't buy your products to be charitable acts. People buy your products because they enjoy your products. And honestly, guys, if I had one lesson to take away from this whole thing and take it away and put it in my life and use that for all other businesses, from merch and Redbubble and all this kind of stuff, is that in real life, right, when somebody buys a product from you, it's not because it's a charitable act. It's because they feel like their money is worth less than that product, and hence why they fork over their money for your product. They would much rather have your product versus their money. They find value in your product. So for me, I think in the very, very beginning, the focus should be quality. Like, we have to get to a point where we're getting good at creating designs. And I've said this before, but you don't need to be amazing at creating designs. You just have to be average or better, because you just can't be worse than the majority, right? You just got to be average or better. And like I said, that comes through time. Now, something that I would say is, if you know that your quality is bad and you're getting better over time, still post those designs. I'm not saying don't post it, because you're getting value out of that, right? You're learning how to tag, you're learning how to title, you're learning how to do all these things that are crucially important to learning how to build a print-on-demand business. Part of print-on-demand, depending on what platform you're using, is the tags, is the titling, is the SEO, is the understanding of the platform, is learning how to maybe optimize your designs on certain, all these different skills that you slowly acquire. And the beautiful thing about all this, guys, is, guess what? These skills are transferable. Right? Like, you can do things in different projects in the future that make you money with the experience that you have gained through print on demand. So let's bring it back here. Let's take a step back. The discussion between quantity and quality. I say that, one doesn't come without the other, right? They're both drastically needed to achieve success on Redbubble. Now, the reason why I brought up this store here, Illustrata Design, you guys could see this store with 202 designs. If you go on the search here and you look, it says top artists, right? This top artist section, these are obviously the top artists on the platform. I'm assuming they're the ones who are making the most sales, making the most money. Or, maybe they're just the most special. I mean, really, I don't really know what they call what top artists is, but, off what metric are they basing it on? Is it sales? Is it attention? What really is it? But I want to say something. We can't base ourselves off the small sample of top artists here, right? Like, what if there's an artist that doesn't get selected to be on the top, but is working their butt off, posting designs every day and making tons and tons of money, but maybe they're not a good ambassador of the brand, and so they don't select them? Does that make sense? Like, you have to remember also, Redbubble plays the favorite game. And when I say favorite game, if you're not promoting them on social media, if you're not giving them extra attention, things like that, you're not going to be a featured artist. Like they say in their description, to become a featured artist, like one of the requirements is you need to promote them on social media, right? So what I'm trying to say here is that being necessarily a top artist here is not, it's not all, we don't really know the metrics, right? We don't know the behind the scenes, the sales and all that. But what we can know for a fact is that this is the minority, right? Now, 202 designs is a good amount. There's nobody who could sit here and say that's not good. Why? Because if you compare that to most of the other Redbubble stores, they don't have 202 designs. They might have 30, they might have 10, they might have 15, they might have 40, etc. Because you got to think, 80% of the stores on Redbubble don't have sales. Now, the reason why I'm saying all of this, and I'm going to get to the point here, is that this is the minority, guys. The minority here is really high quality designs that garner a lot of attention with a low amount of designs. Now, the 202 designs in general is high compared to most. You guys know from my perspective on the YouTube channel, I've said before we should create 60 designs per day, and that's what I mean by low, because after 3-4 days, you can surpass this 202. What I'm trying to say is, if you're doing very, very high quality, obviously it will be almost impossible to do 60 designs a day, right? Like, it will be extremely impossible. You're sitting there, you're an artist, you're drawing, you're doing all what you got to do using these different softwares. It's going to be almost near impossible. But we also have to ask ourselves, how possible from a mathematical perspective can we be the next Illustrata Design? When I say the next Illustrata Design, I don't mean copying their methods or copying their design style. I mean from a statistical analytical approach of low designs, high quality designs, but tremendous amount of sales. The answer is not likely. Like, if you think about it, there's just a few of those people out there who can get away with creating very high quality designs with with a low amount of designs compared to the highest producers on Redbubble. Now, with that being said, to be featured doesn't necessarily mean you're making more money. I want to be clear on that. To be featured doesn't necessarily mean you're making more money. So if Redbubble features you, and they say you're a top artist and this and that, and you're a featured artist, and you get thousands and thousands of likes, guess what? Likes don't pay the bills, right? The only thing the likes are good for is boosting you in the search algorithm, which doesn't necessarily kind of guarantee the sale, right? It all depends at the end of the day, the end consumer. For example, if I search for the word dragon on Redbubble, and there's one post with a ton of likes that happen to rank 1, but then there's the second one that's a really, really good picture of a dragon, and people decide to buy it, what's really more valuable at that point? Would you rather settle for the likes, or would you rather settle for the sales? Now, with that being said, we have to realize, at least the majority of us, I mean, unless you are a we're talking phenomenal artist, like Illustrata Design, you're on that level. I can tell you, without a shadow of a doubt, I am nowhere near this level, and this level is untouchable to me. I will not be able to reach it, even if you give me 100 years on this earth. I can't do what this guy, whoever it is, I don't know if it's a man or woman behind the screen, but whoever is Illustrata Design, I can't do what they're doing. Put it that way, right? I'm the type of guy where you're going to see like some pictures, some text, a good-looking design that people would buy, but it's not going to be the top of the top, right? It's not going to be the best of the best. And that's why I say you have to be average or better, right? And I would say mine are in the or better section, right? It's not the best, but it's or better. With that being said, You can't have one and not the other. You have to approach both. Because let's do it realistically and logically. You create beautiful designs. Let's just say like Illustrator. How are you going to get the attention? Let's say you have 10 designs. How are you going to get the attention? Even though you have the most beautiful designs, how are you going to realistically get the attention to be making X amount of dollars per year? Whatever that might be, whether it be 30 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand. How are you going to do that with only 10 designs? Me personally, I think of, okay, there's only a few ways to promote the business. We have social media. We have organic SEO on Google. We have organic on Redbubble. And then there's ads. All of those together won't pay the bills, if you're not doing it in mass scale, especially what we know about conversion rates. Like, even if your design is really good and your conversion rate is 20 times higher than anybody else, it's still not going to get the job done with a low amount of designs, and they're extremely high quality. Keep that in mind. So what I'm really trying to say here is if your designs are good quality, high quality, nice quality, anything, better than average, or average or better, but you have a tremendous amount of designs, you're burning the candle at both. You're gonna dominate. Like, there's really no other way around it, right? Because what happens is, and I get a lot of messages of people saying, hey, I have no sales. There's no secret to why you don't have sales. Remember, keep that in mind. Like, it's not that you're just unlucky or something like that. Everything happens for a reason. You got to keep that as a fact in your life, right? If you for example, are dieting for a month and you lost weight, it's because you were dieting. Like, everything happens for a reason, right? And so if people see your designs and they're just not buying, everything happens for a reason. Right? There's something about your work that just they're not making the purchases. And you have to be open to the fact that, hey, maybe I have to change some things. And guys, I'll be honest with you guys. Until I sat down in my very first business and realized that fact right there, that, hey, I'm not doing everything I should be doing, because if I was, I'd probably be making more money right now. And this is at the time, guys, when I was a beginner in business. I had no experience. I didn't know what I was doing. In my head, I thought I was doing everything I should have been. I really wasn't, right? Because now, hindsight is 2020. Looking back, I know, kind of how to maneuver myself. But you guys kind of get my point here. If the business person, the artist, the entrepreneur, the whatever you want, the official, money-making hustler, whatever you want to call it, doesn't realize that, then they're lost in business. Because you have to come to the realization that everything happens for a reason. If people are not buying your design, there's a reason why, right? It could be maybe lack of traffic, right? Maybe you have a beautiful design, but just nobody's seeing it. Maybe people are seeing it and they're just not interested. Maybe people are seeing it, they're interested, but your numbers are just not high enough, right? You need to boost your traffic. Like, whatever it could be, there's a reason why, right? So for majority of the people out there, there's two main precepts. Like you guys can walk away with this information and know nothing else, and you will benefit you more than anything, right? Just realize that it's not about high quality. It's not about doing a lot of work. It's about doing both. Like, if you want to totally dominate the space, you have to be good and you have to work at it. Like LeBron James, and I use this example all the time. You have to be not only naturally talented, right? But you have to be hardworking in the gym, in respect to basketball, of course, right? Like, when I say naturally talented, I'm talking genetics, right? Like, tall, strong, be able to jump really high. Like, that's God-given ability that you simply just cannot get. Now, yes, you can work at your own ability and develop it, but there should be some sort of natural cap there, right? But if your baseline is starting at a higher level than other people naturally, then you're just going to get higher and higher and higher. Now, with that being said, Redbubble, it's not about genetics too much, right? It's really about the output. And this is why I say, with print on demand and a lot of these internet businesses, guys, it's really not about how smart you are. It's not about your IQ. It's not about all that. It's all about persisting and staying to the course, which is why I'm saying it's not quality. It's not quantity. It's both. Because imagine if I create thousands and thousands of designs, but all of them are horrendous. Nobody's going to buy it. Right? Like not a single person is going to buy. And in the same notion, if I create the most beautiful designs in the world, but there are only 1 or 2 of them or 10 of them, I'm not going to get as many sales as I should, right? Somewhere in the middle really, really, is really important. So you need both, right? And something that I'll say is, guys, I am a victim of the fourth quarter mentality. When I say fourth quarter mentality, a lot of us get this. It's the fourth quarter. We have FOMO, fear of missing out. So what do? We create hundreds and hundreds of designs. We try as hard as we can. We work as hard as we can. But then we forget about the quality aspect, right? So what we should do is maybe some sort of like like some sort of checking system where we reflect on our success every day, and we look back at the amount of work we did and say, hey, did I skip some corners here? Did I leave some loose ends here? Could I have done a better job here? Where could I have done a better job? And we have to kind of analyze what we're doing in terms of success so we can actually reach success, right? Like if we're just doing work blindly every day, we really don't know if we're just jogging in place or running in place, or are we actually moving forward, right? So, and I'll just, be upfront with you guys, that running in place metaphor is really an example of, for example, having terrible looking designs, but creating hundreds of designs, or, spending hours and hours and hours on one elaborate design that you're only posting once. You know what I'm saying? You're only getting one sale, one design out of it. You're not getting much out of it after that. So we have to make sure we don't become victims to running in place. And I'll be honest, I've done it. Like this quarter, Q4, honestly, this is, I wouldn't even say Q4, maybe even Q3 towards the end. I was having that FOMO a little bit, and my quality of design started lacking. And then what I had to do is I had to kick myself into gear. I had to wake myself up and like, hey, you're messing up here. What you're doing is you're wasting your time. And you guys got to remember that every design you create, you have to look at that design. And I say this all the time, and I'll say it again. You have to look at that design and ask yourself, would you buy it yourself? Without any kind of bias, without any kind of, giving yourself any extra credit, or, without even taking away credit from yourself. Be unbiased, be indifferent in a way to the actual design and say, would I buy this design? Is this design that I'm creating presentable? Then the next thing you do is you obviously present the product on all products. I always say this, but every single product available on Redbubble, on whatever platform you're on, put the design on all products. You never know what that person might want to purchase. They might want it on a poster. They might want it on an ebook, a book. They might want it on a journal. They might want it on a pillow. I mean, you really never know. Sometimes I get the weirdest sales. I get duffel bag sales. I get legging sales, dresses. I mean, I just get the stuff that I never pictured of getting, I would get. So what I'm really trying to say here, guys, is everything that I'm saying, it all plays a part in your success, right? And nothing happens everything happens for a reason, right? There's a reason behind it. Like the reason why you got that sale, there's a reason behind it. It didn't just show up from thin air, right? There's a reason behind it. And the successful people are the people who look back and audit themselves. They say, okay, I got this sale. What's a potential reason why I got this sale? And you got to figure that out, and you got to look back in time. Or maybe you have gotten traffic, but you didn't get sales. You got to audit that, So I don't want to keep rambling on, but you guys kind of get my argument here. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out. Bye.